Hi, everyone. Welcome to tonight's edition of Sunday Night Thrive. Tonight, we're thrilled to be here with Kristen Oliver. Kristen Oliver is based in Charlotte, and she has a couple of things going on there. She's released a book recently, which we're really excited about. She also has an online video series, and she also does in-person work, both individually and with small groups. She has a great master class in Charlotte, but also in Boone at the Art of Living Retreat Center. She's been coming here for a couple of years now, and we're thrilled to have her on the line with us today. Welcome, Kristen.
Thank you so much, Andrew. It's great to be here, and I can't say enough wonderful things about you and the staff and the Art of Living Retreat Center. It's been such a wonderful, supportive environment for myself and for my clients. So thank you for having me.
Yeah, pleasure. So, Kristen, what have you been up to lately? What's going on?
Well, I am, like you said, in this kind of book launch. The book is a parenting book, and it's really interesting for me in my life personally and professionally. I wrote the book. It took me 3 years to write the book, so it almost feels like there was so much energy in it that it's like a third child. It was like the longest pregnancy ever, and then here's this third child. So it was a very kind of sacred experience, a lot of information straight from my heart. It's called The Connected Parent: Uncovering Your Peace, P-E-A-C-E. It's a play on words as to kind of the peace that parents bring to kind of challenges that we have with our kids. It's a gentle kind of turning of the mirror inward to work on yourself, which is sometimes the last place we look when we have challenges with our children. So, that took 3 years to write. And then I had the book in my hand, and I didn't realize that I had more inner work to do to be able to bring that book out to the public. So it took me about 16 months then to really formally announce the book in person. And then now I'm ready to announce it because I have kind of gotten past those ego, fear-based blocks of staying small. And I really had in a meditation a number of months ago this image of the children. The children are waiting for these messages, and the children are trying to give us as parents and communities and schools messages about what they need. And they're doing it in their own unique way, which can lead to, looking like behavior or sensory challenges, or, children having anxiety, and then parents end up with anxiety and fear and worry. It's somewhat a normal piece of parenting, but it doesn't have to be. So I felt like the children were calling for this message to get out there. And that was my motivation, just getting over that piece. It's not about me. Get over my stuff. I did all my own work on myself, and then was able to really share that. So I'm very excited to get that out there. And a lot of times just the feedback from parents who have read it is what was driving me to share that message. So.
And what would you say is the main message of the book?
The main message of that book is that if we are trying to fix and change that which is outside of us, we often can make changes, but we're going to take the long and hard and arduous path. I had another vision once in the meditation of myself in full combat gear with a heavy helmet on, and I was combat crawling through what I thought was a tunnel, and something told me to look up. I looked up and I realized that it was just a narrow passageway. So I stood up, and it was still tough, and I walked out. I feel like that's what can happen with parenting. We can be in this tough battle working to fix and change our kids. However, if we pause for a moment and just recognize there might be something else in there for us, there might be an opportunity for us. I teach a very specific method of inner work that takes parents from their own level of guilt and anxiety and fear that they're messing their kids up. Many parents will wake in the middle of the night in fear about a certain situation. It could be from, a developmental delay that your toddler is having, up to how much screen time your teenager is having. Either way, it doesn't matter. We tend to take this on ourselves. And if we can learn how to bring compassion into ourselves, we lower that level of intense emotion. If we can learn to actually use that emotion to access the divine within, this love that we have, that's the truth and the core of all of us, and then radiate that outward, we actually change the lens of perception through which we see our children. And when we start to believe our kids have everything that it takes, things start to shift. And sometimes, I mean, it's taken me years, but I've also taken note as to my process. And that's what I share in this book. So it doesn't have to take everybody else years. I feel like my kids and I had some sort of unspoken agreement in this experience that they would teach me all of this and I could teach it to others so that it wouldn't take the years that it took me.
And that's a great point, Kristen. You're saying that sometimes to deal with the outside better, whether it's our children or situations, that your process is turning inward and dealing with some of that stuff inside. Could you say a bit more about that and what prompted that shift from you, given your background and the work you do with parents?
Yeah, sure. Well, it started years and years ago when I got very sick physically. So I ended up, trying to do all of the work on the outside to fix what was going on, going to all sorts of specialists, and nobody could figure out what was going on. I did make some diet changes and taking, supplements, and that helped a little bit, but it wasn't until I learned to turn inward what were my negative thoughts and limiting beliefs that were on automatic replay. It's really based in neuroscience. And once I figured those out and I learned very specific tools as to how to release those from my physical, emotional, spiritual being, then I was able to heal myself physically. So that was quite a miracle in my life. Then fast forward, I have a son, I have a daughter, and I'm overwhelmed, exhausted, feeling guilty, anxious mom who on the outside looked like I had it all together because I did have a meditation practice that I put on hold. So I knew how to look peaceful, but inside it was a total disaster. And I kind of kept trying to take my kids to all these different practitioners, traditional, integrative. And then one day I had this pause and I said, wait a minute, to change my physical health, I worked on what was going on inside. I have nothing to lose. What if I change this, my perception of my kids, go inside and work on that? And one of the things that I don't always remember to say is that my background is in occupational therapy. So I have a master's in OT. So I'm very familiar with children and developmental challenges and, learning differences and things like that. But it's almost more difficult to be a therapist and a mom at the same time because you have this kind of battle. So, I was able to use some of that and really more was this inner process. And something else I did want to say, just about the book and my own trajectory was I really ended up working with parents and showing them how to create the kind of harmony in their family and this connection with their children and their partners and even their exes to be able to create this flow and this family harmony. And what ended up happening is those parents would come to me and maybe at one-on-one sessions, things would shift with their kids. And then they'd say, oh, you know what? Now I want to work on the relationship with my husband, or I'm ready to go back to work. I want to work on my career or my health. And so then I started just realizing that this work, this inner work, this framework of understanding how to reveal your limiting beliefs and your negative thoughts, what's driving you subconsciously, this process of being able to identify that actually was relevant for all challenge areas. So I started branching out when people asked for it, and I really went toward this, kind of broad, what's going on in your life that you're not, happy with? If you had a magic wand, what would you tap it at? And then, sometimes it was parenting, but then other times it spanned out. And together with my clients, I found that this work was effective for all areas. So that's where kind of the retreat comes in, with just working with women for any area.
And you have a very interesting approach in the sense that it's very targeted. You work in your retreats exclusively with women, right?
Yeah, so far I have my male clients kind of just saying, when are we going to be invited? And I just keep tuning into my intuition and my guidance. For now, they're women's retreats. At least this upcoming one is still. And I feel there's a need for all on this planet, for all consciousness to come together and to grow. And for right now, with this particular approach and this particular retreat, I feel it is for women. We create this very sacred space on the first evening on Friday night, and we bring everybody to a level playing field. We never can get anywhere if we are, not meeting each other eye to eye. So I have some clients coming that I've worked with for 3-4 years, and I have other brand new folks, and we have a very sacred way of coming together to become one kind of tribe for the weekend. And I love every part of that. Friday night is just creating this container. Saturday is, and this, just a dive deep into this work. And because we created this safe container, people are able to go deeper than usual. And with group work, as you know, Andrew, you elevate one another. So this person has a big, shift, and that brings, this person up, and it just continues to go when you're in that container of safety and of elevating energy.
And what are some of the experiences or transformations people go through on this kind of workshop and this kind of inner work with you? You mentioned you just got an amazing letter from someone.
Oh, yes. So, I had a client who gave me a gift the other day, and with the card it said, "You changed the trajectory of my life." And I got, very choked up when I read that, and her gift was such a thoughtful gift, but it kind of took me back, and I don't feel it's me. It's that she got to a place in her life that she so deeply desired something different, and she was ready to do the work. The people that come to this retreat and come to me are actually ready to do the work. There's a wonderful place for all sorts of therapies and approaches and retreats, and I have been to many, many different kinds, but when somebody's really ready to create lasting change, that's who I appreciate working with. And this woman really saved her marriage, that they were ready to just go their own ways. She saved her marriage, and also over the course of a year and a half, through different programs that she decided to do with me, she became president of her company.
Wow.
So it was, quite a miraculous situation. I got another email from somebody who I met just at my retreat. I had never met her before. She came to the retreat, and then I didn't see her thereafter, but she sent me an email that the retreat changed her life as well. She was able to go back to her country of origin, which she hadn't been to in over a decade. She actually had a miscarriage, which was very sad, but she was able to work through that with the tools that she got in the retreat. She was able to handle a move. So just major life changes and life events. And she said she used all of the tools through everything to be able to, to be her true self, to access that, the divine within, and to really be who she's here to be. So parenting, career, physical health, self-image, finances, we just, any area that can be a challenge or something that's holding somebody back, if they're ready, we can address it, and we can do it all at the same time. And it's funny how people end up kind of moving together in meeting other people who are in very similar paths, yet somebody across the circle from them is in a totally different place who found other people who are, experiencing something similar to them. I've had a number of people say the small groups that they end up in were just like the absolute perfect, group. So I trust this process, and, just very humbly grateful to do this work.
So it sounds like a part of it is actually the connection between participants, between other people doing this work together. Is that right?
Yes. And, it's interesting you say that word connection. It is in my business name. It's in my book. Parent. It's in my online programs, is because I think everything is about connection. We're connecting to the divine within. We're connecting to our true selves. We're connecting to one another. Everything that we do for ourselves radiates outward to our loved ones. And if it radiates outward to our loved ones, then it radiates outward to those that they know, and it ends up elevating the consciousness of humanity, of the planet, because I feel ultimately we are all connected. And when more and more people feel that connection, you got to start, with yourself, and then at home, and it just radiates outward. And I'm beside myself as to how powerful this work can be. So yes, connection is absolutely of the utmost importance and central focus of, the retreat, but all of the work that I do.
Wow, that's beautiful. And so many of these issues that you're focusing on sound so current and so urgent in our society today. Parenting, relationships, the household, but also turning inward. That's what sounds so new but amazing about this approach.
Yeah, I think urgent that's an interesting word, and I would agree with you. I feel I had to hit this point of what I call desperation. I mean, that's all I remember is just feeling desperate. There's got to be something else. And now I feel that there's that desperation coupled with the urgency that drives people to actually, get to this. And I'll tell you, on my own journey, I ended up distracting myself. I took a number of really big detours on this path, and they were with good intent, but I'd find a really great book and I'd immerse myself in this book, and I started to really understand the why I was, stuck in these old patterns. And then I'd finish the book and I'd go, oh no, what do I do? And I'd find another book, and there was more why, and I kept building the why, and I just kept begging the universe and God and life for the how. How do I change? So the first part of all of my programs is about awareness, because you can't change anything unless you're aware of, there being a challenge. So we go into awareness, but then we go into the how, because we each need those tools and skills and strategies. Like there's a toolbox to choose from when we're in our everyday lives, because this work is not just a 3-day retreat. You know this too. I know you know this because you have a regular spiritual meditation, practice and lifestyle. So what I really try to do is teach people the steps for this to become a lifestyle.
Beautiful. And for those who are interested in this beautiful upcoming program, there's a link in the chat box and the comment section below. So check that out, learn more about it. Kristen Oliver, it's an amazing experience to really, like Kristen was saying, to be in a group and learning from each other as well as from the process, and having something, it sounds like, that you take back home to continue growing with.
Absolutely.
Before we get off, Kristen did offer to share a guided experience with us so that we could take a little chance for some inner work on this call itself. So take it away, Kristen.
Sure. Let's go ahead. For anybody who's watching right now, just go ahead and close your eyes. And we'll take a breath in, bringing your attention all the way to the top of your head. As you exhale, allow relaxation to pour over your body, relaxing your head, letting your shoulders sink in, relaxing your chest and your abdomen, all the way down through your legs to your feet. Breathing in again to the top of your head, and relax as you exhale, bringing your attention and your awareness down through your body. Now allow yourself to go to a challenge that you're experiencing, either today or just a recent challenge. And take a moment to reflect on the thoughts that you have about this challenge. You might have judgment for another. That's okay. Without judgment for yourself or any part of this process, just be aware of the judgment. Maybe there's some fear. What if this never happens, or what if it does? Maybe there's some guilt. If only I would have done something differently, this wouldn't be the case. Or even resentment. If someone else had done something different, this wouldn't have been the case. Recognize these are your thoughts. Many of these thoughts are automatic. We're just bringing awareness to them. The thoughts are there as protective mechanisms. They often came in long ago to keep you safe in maybe one incident or occurrence, and they landed in for long-term programming. We're going to practice shifting those thoughts in this moment by imagining them gently encapsulated in your head, just in a sphere or a box, something gentle. And imagine it moving down through the bottom part of your head, in through your neck, through your upper chest, and landing in the center of your chest gently. Place your fingertips on your sternum. And pay attention to the space behind that where you're placing gentle pressure. And now ask yourself, how does that situation look and feel different when you perceive it from the center of your heart? And just take a moment to notice. Releasing your fingers, now imagine just drawing an oval line over your heart and open that line up. Let it be a window and let go of anything that's not serving you. Out go those thoughts, out go the emotions that you don't need, and out go those beliefs. Just a layer. You don't have to do it all right now. Just a layer out that window, out that opening in the front of your body. And now imagine closing that window and again placing your fingertips on your sternum, on your heart. And choose an emotion that you want. I often suggest relief. When we're going through some sort of challenge, a couple rungs up the emotional ladder would be relief. What does relief feel like? Just breathe into that and let it expand into your heart, the feeling of relief. This is self-care. This is self-compassion. And now bring in the feeling of gratitude. Gratitude for the future experience that's going to confirm this relief. Feel the gratitude now, as if it's present now. And that experience of relief will find you more quickly. Taking another couple deep breaths. Willing to do this exercise again and again to create a lifestyle shift. When you're ready, you can open your eyes.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
And just to wind up there, what do you feel is that crucial lifestyle shift?
The crucial lifestyle shift is in the awareness and the compassion. So I actually teach something that is it's pretty simple. It's not necessarily easy, right? Simple and easy are
Different things.
Exactly. So awareness is first. When we are aware where we're at, what our thoughts are, what our emotions are, and the beliefs that might be playing in, we have awareness. We can move then to compassion. Compassion for self. Basically witness yourself. I see you, I hear you, I feel you, I love you. And then start to trust. We start to trust ourselves, the divine and life, God, truth. We start to flow. And that's probably the hardest of those because we want to try to control. And then if you do awareness, connection, trust, that spells the word act, and we take action. Most of us know what action helps us, okay? Go for a walk when you're stuck, movement, start to meditate if you're not a regular meditator, up your game if you are, go back to a form of prayer that was helpful when you were younger. Call a friend, take action, do something different than before. The neural pathways stay the same unless we do something different. So take that action. Awareness, compassion, trust, and then take action.
Beautiful. Again, I welcome our viewers to check out that link, explore the workshop some more. Kristen's a great teacher and has a lot to offer. And Kristen, look forward to seeing you, welcoming you to Boone again, coming up pretty soon in the fall.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you, Andrew, and thank you to the listeners and anybody who's interested to join in my Dive Deep Women's Retreat. I would love to have you. I'd be honored to work with you. Thank you, Andrew.